this video, I'm going to show you how I installed a built-in vertical touchscreen monitor into my PC case. Here's a list of the things that I used to make this possible. First of all, I needed a PC case, duh, can't really do this without that, a portable touchscreen monitor that I measured to make sure it was the right size for my case, a PVC panel, I'll tell you what that's for later, an HDMI cable, a USB-C cable, both of them long enough to reach all the way to the back of the case from the front of the case, a 90-degree micro HDMI to HDMI converter, and a 90-degree USB-C adapter, screwdrivers, a pocket knife or box cutter, super glue, sandpaper, and 90% dark chocolate. Maybe you can scrap the last part, but that did come in handy. The first thing you'll need to do is measure the front of your PC case. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention you'll probably need a tape measure as well. But this is important so you can get the perfect size for a touchscreen monitor for your case. I have the NZXT H510 Elite case, and I'll link below the monitor I bought in case you have the same case or a similarly sized monitor. But keep in mind, your monitor will need to be exactly the right size, or it will stick over the edge of the case if it's too large. Also keep in mind, the H510 Elite has this white trim at the bottom that I didn't want to cover up with the monitor, which allowed me to stick with a standard 16:9 monitor. If you're looking to cover the whole front of your PC case, including any trim below, you'll likely need an ultra-wide monitor, which will be that much harder to find one of the exact dimensions you need. That's why I chose not to cover the trim and stick with 16:9, because there were that many more options to choose from on Amazon. It still took me hours and hours of scrolling through touchscreen monitors to find the exact right size for my case. So just be prepared for it to take a little bit of time shopping to find the right one. Once you have all your parts in and have selected the right monitor for your case, you're going to need to remove the front plate of your PC case to make room for the monitor. Most cases should allow you to easily remove the front panel, as the H510 Elite was very easy. However, if your case is a little more difficult, you might have to resort to more extreme measures. Alright, I'm just kidding. But as a last resort, if you're unable to get the panel out, you can always attach the monitor on top of it and drill holes to run the HDMI and USB-C cables, but that's less ideal. So if it's at all possible, get that front panel off of the case. Okay, so we've got the front panel off. Now we need to take the PVC panel and cut it to the size of the monitor so it can be used as a back frame of sorts to hold the monitor in place in the case. Measure and mark the exact size of the monitor, and it's time to cut the PVC panel to shape. Keep in mind, you'll save a lot of time if you use professional grade power tools, but I'm a po' boy and all I have is this beautiful, amazing, life-changing box cutter and the 90% dark chocolate. Now you see why it's so useful. Once you've cut the PVC panel to shape, use some sandpaper to smooth the edges. Next, you want to locate the HDMI and USB ports on the external monitor and cut a slot out of the PVC panel to make room to connect your cables. Make sure you have enough room to comfortably fit your cables and adapters. For the next step, I think I made this as difficult as humanly possible. Please don't do what I'm doing in the video behind my voice. Let me tell you what you should do instead. My original strategy was to cut out half of the depth of the PVC panel in this section where the wider part of the monitor needed more room to rest. If that doesn't make sense, this shot shows what I mean. You need a thicker panel behind the thin parts of the monitor and a thinner panel behind the thicker part of the monitor so that the whole monitor lies evenly on the panel. However, my strategy was to use hand tools to cut out half the thickness of the panel about halfway down, which was extremely difficult and time consuming. Take my advice, just buy 2 PVC panels at 1/4 inch thickness each and cut one to the size of the full monitor and the other to the size of the thinner section of the monitor to provide extra support. You will thank me later. And if what I just said doesn't make any sense, well,
I missed the part where that's my problem.
Okay, now we're almost done with setup. Once the PVC panel is cut to size, use some kind of adhesive, I used super glue, and attach the monitor firmly to the panel so they're connected as one piece you can attach to your case. I also cut a thin, tiny piece of PVC panel and glued it over the top of the HDMI and USB adapters just to hide them so that they're not visible from the outside. I used a few more chunks of PVC panel to glue over the rest of the bottom so that it would be smooth and flush with the rest of the monitor. And as a final touch, you could get some sealant or tar and actually seal the crevices between the panel and the monitor, but I was too lazy to do this and demonstrate it in the video. Yes, I literally modded my entire PC case with a built-in monitor, but I'm too lazy to add one extra tiny little step to make it look better. Yeah, you heard that right. Now we're going to connect our HDMI and USB cables to the external monitor and run the other end to the back of the PC case. Technically, you can plug in the USB cable anywhere for power. I highly recommend plugging your HDMI into your GPU rather than your motherboard. Make sure to plug these all in and test them before attaching your panel to the front of the case. Trust me, you don't want to put everything in place just to realize something is wrong and it doesn't work. To set up your monitor with your PC, type rearrange multiple displays in your search bar, which will pull up your monitor settings and allow you to ensure your monitor is oriented correctly. In my case, I had to actually invert the video under portrait mode since I technically installed my monitor upside down. Also, if you have a touchscreen monitor like my own, you want to make sure your touchscreen controls are working correctly before attaching your monitor to the case. I had a problem where touches on the touchscreen monitor were registering on my primary monitor rather than my new monitor. So if you have that problem, open your control panel, then go to hardware and sound, then select tablet PC settings. Next, under configure, click setup. All your monitors will turn white and text will appear on your screen saying to tap the screen to register it as your touchscreen monitor. If the text is on the wrong monitor, press enter on your keyboard to cycle it until it is on your touchscreen monitor, then tap that monitor to register it. You may have to tweak a few other settings like on-screen keyboard and so forth, but at this point your monitor should be connected and working correctly. Now, the last step is to firmly attach your monitor to the front of your PC case. Firmly. Which is why I used super glue. Look, I didn't have anything better, okay? There are definitely better materials to use than super glue. A great idea would be to use adhesive Velcro strips so that you can freely remove the panel whenever you want to. But if all else fails, super glue works. And with that, your beautiful built-in monitor should be working. Let me know in the comments below if you ended up doing this to your PC so that I can congratulate anyone who imitates this build. And while you're at it, if you enjoyed this video, click on the screen to watch another video from my other YouTube channel.